The other day, the left-wing hack so-called judges of the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals overruled a lower court's decision that had allowed the people of Maryland to own sporting rifles like AR-15s and AK-47s and SKSs and so on and so forth. The reason that they gave was they said that these types of assault rifles, which is of course what they call them, and that's not what they are, okay? These weapons of war, let's call them that too, they said that the common people should not be able to own weapons of war because they are too dangerous and therefore are not covered by the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Okay, so let's explain, because that's actually what they said. This is for the so-called judges and the willfully ignorant politicians who really don't care about the truth anyway. And quite frankly, this is also for the lawyers who didn't seem to do a good enough job because they didn't win the case. Okay? The Second Amendment is specifically designed for the people to be able to own potentially dangerous weapons. That's what it's for. Okay, let's take it back to the beginning, okay? Back when the Second Amendment was created, about the only firearms that anybody had available, whether you be civilian or military, were muskets and cannons. And if you're in a battle and this side had more muskets and cannons than, say, this side, then more than likely this side was going to win because you had more muskets and cannons and you were able to outgun the other side, and so you won, okay? The Second Amendment was designed for the people to be able to protect themselves against tyrannical forces and tyrannical governments, whether they be foreign or domestic. That's what the Second Amendment was created for. It wasn't for what that moron governor of New York said, which is, you don't need more than 8 bullets to shoot a deer. Okay, it was never for hunting, and it was never for that moron former president that we had who said it was for sport shooting. It's for the people to be able to adequately protect themselves against tyrannical forces. Now, let's bring that up to today, because I haven't seen a musket in a while. Okay. What kind of weaponry does the U.S. government have today? They've got stealth bombers, and they got fighter jets, and they got nuclear missiles, and they've got RPGs, and they've got, the list just goes bigger and bigger as time goes on. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. We have the right to protect ourselves against tyrannical forces. What do we, the people, have to defend ourselves against nuclear weapons, fighter jets, tanks, missiles, RPGs? We've got semi-automatic AR-15s, semi-automatic SKSs, semi-automatic AK-47s, and those types of weapons. And that's pretty much as big as it gets. So the reality is that as time goes on and weaponry created by governments becomes more and more advanced, our right to be able to own these types of rifles becomes greater and greater. And don't let anybody ever try to tell you any different.